morning, virtual village haulers. My name is Vicky Crawford, otherwise known as Rose Tinted GB, and welcome. I've got an hour to introduce you to my technicolor world of dried flowers. We're going to demystify the crinkly, pale reputation that dried flowers have and welcome you to the resurgence that they are currently having in the floristry world. So over the next hour, we are going to deconstruct an indoor autumn half moon, quite modern wreath. We're going to deconstruct one I've made earlier, and we are going to embellish it a little bit more, because once I've made a wreath, I tell you what, I start to then think about how am I going to tweak it a little bit more. So we'll move on to that in about 2 minutes. It's a busy half-term house for me. I don't know if you guys are at capacity with half-term. I've got poorly boy next door, getting better, poorly husband upstairs, 2 daughters fiddling about, 2 budgies singing, and a Greek hound who might make his appearance at some point. But as you can see behind me, I've surrounded myself with my menagerie of dried flowers to sort of cocoon me in my happy place. So I got into drying flowers over a year ago. Classic middle of lockdown one. Beautiful spring summer weather that we all experienced. The garden was blooming, and I just wanted to find a way to preserve the happiness that was in the garden in the midst of summer. Also, my nan passed away from COVID in June last year, and my nan was just such a fan of dried flowers, fresh flowers, fabric, textures, feathers. And I started to get this idea of drying, making, creating, and kind of keeping my nan's spirit within me. And one thing led to another, and I'm now a year into selling dried flowers, dried wreaths, dried garlands, locally, regionally, nationally on Etsy. And what coincided with my love of flowers and drying was discovering this amazing book. This lady is the guru of dried flowers, Bex Partridge. And the techniques, the types of flowers, the types of foliage, guides to foraging is all in this book. So this has been my reference document for much of the last year, and I must give credit to Bex Partridge, and she has a wonderful following on Instagram, Botanical Tales. And I'm self-taught, but I'm taught by this lady very much so. So I wanted to mention that. I also want to mention a local florist. I'm in rural Buckinghamshire. I'm in a village called Hanslope, and there's a little town near me called Stony Stratford, and an amazing social enterprise, not for profit, called at Branch Out Milton Keynes, at Branch Out MK. Teresa has been doing dried flowers for years before they became popular, and many of the tips, for example, using distressed sari ribbons, using multi-layered textures, using all sorts of different materials, reclaimed, recycling, and she has inspired me massively. And she's recently achieved a bronze Chelsea medal this year for an amazing dried flower installation. So check out at Branch Out MK. So those are my 2 inspirations. So the wreath and the flowers, I'm going to zoom my camera down. You can see I've got my pick and mix shop behind me, which I dip into. And I am going to just to prove to you that dried flowers can be bright and colourful. I've got my bronze autumn tones. So bear with me. Going from my right to left, we've got crocosmia. We've got your classic everlastings or helichrysums. We've got my beautiful achillea cloth of gold, which is yarrow, common garden yarrow. We've got dahlias, which dry a mottled, gnarly, crinkly structure, which when placed individually or as a cluster, add drama and effect. We've got tiny miniature roses, which dry beautifully. Always dry them with the stem fully intact. And I air dry upside down, just about everything, in a dark-ish place with some airflow. Ideally above an arbor, which I'm lucky to have, or just in an airing cupboard with the door open. More helichrysums. So those are my bright autumn tones. And I've also got lots and lots of pinks and lavenders, which are just over in the back corner. You can't really see, but I've split them into the pastel tones. So I've got whites, pinks and purples. I'm not going to use those today because they're more our spring summer tones, but larkspur and delphinium are wonderful June flowers to dry. The seed heads in particular are exquisite, and I've got a larkspur seed head in the wreath we're going to be looking at in a minute. Lavender. We've got some brilliant local growers of lavender in the UK, Yorkshire and Kent and Norfolk, and your own homegrown lavender will be amazing in dried flowers. And you can cut it fresh, turn it into a creation when it's fresh, and it will of course dry in situ, which many of the flowers that we're using work with. Pampas grass behind me, which is coming into its own. And I'm very lucky, I locally forage in my neighbours' gardens a lot of the time and in the hedgerows, and all these finds become apparent. So now I'm going to zoom down and let's get down to business. I hope you've got a coffee. I hope you're chilled. I hope you're entering your happy space. Right, here we go with the camera. Okay, I am going to declutter my space a little bit. Oh, I think I made a little ping noise then. And what you can see, that's empty. I love to work on a clean piece of paper. It's something about having a blank canvas that empties my head. I have a very busy house, and I have self-sabotaged it with dried flowers now. I'm getting my own back on 13 years as a parent by just bombing my house with stuff. We'll get some of these my flower crowns out the way, surrounding myself with prettiness. Some feathers. I've had a gorgeous ceramic pumpkin hand painted by a local calligrapher called Lettered by Annie, and she is making me feel very special. I'm going to tell you about my apron at the end as well that I've just collected from a local social enterprise known as Sow and Grow. So let's zoom in. Now you will have had a photograph of this wreath sent to you and posted on Virtual Village Hall in advance. What I've done since is we've got a hand-dyed crushed ochre velvet ribbon from At the Botanical Dyer. But geez, you could just cut up an old pair of velvet curtains if you want texture to make a lovely ribbon. Or, as I say, sari ribbons. Distressed sari ribbons are brilliant. But moving on from the ribbon element and the embellishment, we are using today, and I've not used this much, but it's a modern twist. We are using a 8-inch, I think I might have put 10-inch on the post. We're using an 8-inch macrame hoop. I'm going to point that down a bit. Hopefully that's helping you. 8-inch macrame hoop. Now I sourced these on Amazon. Tried to get them locally, couldn't. I managed to get 8 for £8.99. So that's only about £1.20, £30 a hoop. Don't know if that price is still there, but shop around. Okay, so yes, I've made this, and now I'm going to take it apart. Because I've already added some extra elements from the photograph, I've added a fun and whimsical, I think it's a cockerel feather, a rooster feather. I think it's a rooster feather. I've added that little element. I've added some linseeds because they just branch out and add what I like to describe as just a winged element. It's so easy to make a tight wreath, a neat, tight, conservative, constructed wreath, and to forget that you almost want it to have that air of freedom and floating and being in the wind. So I like to include these whimsical elements that just look like they're tailing out and tailing off from the wreath. I like to do a half moon design, which this is, or it's just slightly over a half moon, ever so slightly. And what we might add today is we might just go for broke and think, you know what, we're on Virtual Village Hall, it's Thursday morning. I actually slept last night with my son, getting a bit better, and I've got a beautiful yellow helichrysum, which we could add just at the bottom to add that luxury element. I've also got another feather we could use, foraged by my sister-in-law in a recent garden trip, little pheasant feather. And finally, from my garden, we've got, let's get this, crocosmia, which when I went to Scotland this summer was just growing prolifically on the side of the road. And I really wanted to forage it, but I didn't because it was extending from people's gardens. And you've got to be careful when you're foraging in local forests or hedgerows. If what you're foraging is in abundance and you're just taking a small amount to use yourself, then there's no problem with that. But also be mindful of seed heads. Teasels, so brilliant, so popular, but they look just as good in the spring after the winter when the birds have eaten all the seeds. So that's the time to harvest. And I'm not really a fan of spraying dried flowers with artificial colours. I like to keep them as they are, but teasels are really fun to experiment with spray painting. It's just a little bit of fun. Bear with whilst I just use my broken coffee cup to sip. And I hope you do too. Okay, I've got my little snip snips. These came from my mother-in-law recently. I lost them and I found them. And they're called de-headers. And they're so fun and nifty. Okay, so let's undo this ribbon, the ochre ribbon, which is a luxury element for me. I do have other ribbons. I've got some sage green velvet. I've got some lavender velvet. I've got some burgundy velvet. Now, I've been using raffia, a 1 meter length of raffia. You can buy it in a massive spool. Now, you can buy it at different strengths. I recommend buying a stronger one than this one because this one is snapping quite easily. So I can't pull it too much. But if it snaps, you can just tie it to a new end of raffia and it will all get concealed in your wreath. So let's just deconstruct. Obviously, this is going to be a little bit brutal because are these going to change my tool? I can't quite get into the raffia. Oh, this is, here we go, deconstructing. And what you'll see as I deconstruct is the individual elements, which you've had in the list today. This is a beautiful burgundy shrub. It's a seed head from a shrub from one of my neighbour's gardens. I do know the name of it. I've forgotten again, but I will check back on that. It's phyto something or other. So let's make our little piles of foraged items. Keep going, deconstructing, winding. And as we find material, I will introduce you. My phone just pinged. It's my sister who's a big ambassador for me because I'm a bit shy. Right, nigella seed heads. Do you know what? Last year, the harvest of nigella seed heads was so amazing and they were massive and just blossoming and blooming and bountiful. This year, they're smaller. Everything is smaller this year, and that just goes to show, make hay whilst the sun shines, because the flowers change throughout the season. This is just a little foraged thistle type weed almost, just bountiful in my hedgerows. That comes out. So at the moment we've got browns. I don't know why I've brought this into the party because it's going to scupper me. It's a burdock. You know the burrs that get stuck on your dog's fur, and it gets stuck everywhere. But when I'm trying to fill in a hole, I just plop it and it sticks. But it also sticks to me, to everything. You can go over there. Now we're getting to the colourful elements. We're getting to the achillea cloth of gold, also known as yarrow. I think this is my favourite dried flower. I really do, because it's the same in the garden as it is when it dries. And look at that vibrant yellow, that mustard yellow. Love it. We've got an ear of wheat. My farmer opposite, in the field opposite me, had harvested all his wheat. And then I just went round the edge and found the bits that had flown out of the combine. Dragged my kids along. Actually, they quite liked it, though they always deny it. Rolling the eyes as I show them a new dried thing. Now we're getting to some wired elements where the stalk was not long enough. Here comes that whimsical linseeds. You might know a farmer who grows linseeds. I don't. So I do sometimes source dried flowers online. And the website that I always use is Essentially Hops. Essentially Hops. They sell hops, dried hops and fresh hops from Kent, but they also sell beautifully kiln dried, which means that the flower dries really slowly in the dark, retaining its colour. And they sell British flowers and imported flowers. I buy British. This wreath is British. This is a carthamus flower head. It's dried really gnarly and crinkly, and it's a perfect Halloween flower. But the seed heads don't have a stalk. So what we've done is I've used a pin, pushed the pin through all the way, and I've then added florist wire. I've hooped the florist wire at the end with round nose pliers. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. And then when I've used my round nose pliers, I've pulled it back. So round nose pliers, always useful, different types of florist wire. And then we've got a really malleable carthamus flower that we can use more and more. Let's speed up. You'll see I'm pulling out different elements. Now, when you make a dried flower wreath, one of the tips that Bex Partridge talks about in her book is you make mini posies. And those mini posies are collections of flowers and foliage that you're going to incorporate in your wreath. And when you make the mini posies, you have a repetition. Each posy is basically the same. And in each posy, you have one lead flower, which steals the show. So that might be a helichrysum. It might be an achillea, cloth of gold. It might just be for a subtle look, which we're kind of using in this one, the burgundy, forgotten the name of, common garden shrub seed head. You don't have to know the names. I randomly know the names of things, and then I randomly don't know the names of things. Completely random. Oats! Just adding that green element. We don't want everything to be bronze and brown. We want some green. And these oats I did source from Essentially Hops. So they're grown in Kent. Now here, what you can see here is I have almost got one of those mini posies. So the mini posy has got the lead flower, which is the carthamus. A little bit of wheat grass that I foraged, oat grass. So we keep going, See, my raffia keeps unwinding, and you're starting to see in reverse how we achieved our current look. And the other reason I'm showing you it this way is because if we run out of time today, you've kind of seen the end result at the beginning, and you know where we're heading. You can also look at the photographs back on my posts beforehand, and you can also just message me and I can fill in any gaps. Here we go. I'm going to put my feathers over here because they just get They're a little bit fly away. A bit of paper's getting a bit dirty. Here we go. Okay, keep deconstructing. So the Posy Principle, one main flower and one or two secondary flowers. That's what I was saying, wasn't it? So the secondary flowers might be smaller flowers that add colour, but they're not as dominating. They're supporting. They're the backing singers. And they might be your crocosmia. They might be your nigella. Even though it's a seed head, it's got colour element. So anything with a colour element. And then you've got your main flower, you've got your stealing the show, you've got your two backing singers, your secondary flowers. Then you've got your foliage or grasses. Oh, don't forget the foliage or grasses. They are the fans. Without the fans, you've got nothing. And the fans add height, they add texture, and they really do turn the wreath into something special. So, if we talk about grasses, I could talk about grasses all day. We've got wheat grasses, oat grasses. We've got pampas grasses. We've got, which is my absolute favourite, and all over Chelsea flower show this year, miscanthus grass. I haven't got any in at the moment. It's all in my garden, still growing, and I'm going to harvest some of it soon. Miscanthus is the most floaty grass, just bends over slightly. I've got Miscanthus flamingo, which comes out, grows pink. The grass comes up pink, shoots pink, and then it turns to a classic feathery white over time. And it is, I think, a five-star top favourite grass. So if I had to pick my favourite flower, it would be achillea cloth of gold / yarrow. Oh, but I don't know, actually. I might change my mind. Now, okay, here is our first posy. Okay, so what I did with this one, I can't remember why I did it. I actually wired this posy. In the old days, when I first started out, I used to wire with florist wire every single individual posy. And I'd probably, for a half moon wreath like this, end up with 10 posies. And it would take me a long time to wire them. And also, when you wire something, it makes it tight. And you lose that looseness, that natural, organic, whimsical element. So once I got more confident, I stopped wiring everything. And I just started using my hands and trusting my hands and the raffia to hold it in place. A little bit more fiddly on the fingers, but less stressy too, because you're just making it at your own pace. You're trusting the materials. So now we have our bare wreath. Let's clear our white canvas because, I don't know about you, if you're a mum or not a mum, but my house is always in disarray, to be honest, partly because of me. I cannot blame it on everyone else. But when I'm working on my blank canvas, I like it to be clean. I like it to just be one part of my life that I can control and keep clear. Okay, so here is our 10-inch wreath, 8-inch wreath. And I've got a 1 metre length of raffia. And I have just tied a knot, okay, a double knot. You could double loop your raffia fold it back on itself, so it's in 2 halves, and then loop it through itself to make a loop. But I tend to finish the wreath like that. I start the wreath with just a common knot. You're all brilliant crafters. I bet you know some really good knots. Excuse me. Coffee. You probably know some great knots. I don't. So I just knot. Right. So let's go back to our original posy. Here it is. It's got the height from our grasses. In this one we've got linseed, oat grass. We have also got, which I haven't yet, it's right here. Here is, remember I told you about larkspur. slash delphinium, known as a delphinium, or you call it larkspur. And when you get the flowers, you also get these beautiful, beautiful seed heads. And I've used them in everything this year. So they add that little nod, that little curve that we're after, the natural curve. I think we know everything else. Some catkins that I foraged. The soon to be named but forgotten about burgundy shrub, that is our main flower. Or it's probably our secondary one actually, because if we think of our yarrow as being our main. So how do we get going? This is the tricky bit. So when you're fanning your wreath, it's not, it just takes time. When you're fanning your wreath, you're thinking about each posy, if you're doing a posy style, as sort of one floating upwards and then the next overlapping a little bit down, going in the center. And then we're going a little bit like this, do you see? So we're creating different angles. We're creating a slightly different look. We're trying to go against a uniform construction. And we're thinking, where's the top of the wreath going to be? So you keep holding it and looking and thinking, is the top of the wreath going to be there? Am I going to have it drooping down? Am I going to having a little confident nod up there? So I'm going to hold it in place. I've got my raffia already tied. Now look at this. Look at where that naughty burr came from. Taking over. So now I'm holding it in place. Except my finger's in the way, isn't it? Working backwards. And I'm just reusing my old raffia. And I'm going round it once. And okay, I can see the raffia. It doesn't matter. Because as we build up density, we're going to cover our raffia. And I'm not wrapping the raffia around the same spot. I'm going down the stems of the flowers. The stems of the flowers are around about 6-7 centimetres. You can always trim your stems afterwards. Keep them longer. You can trim your stems afterwards. So I've wrapped that around 4 times. I'm not pulling my raffia too tight because naughty raffia likes to break. This one. Bulldog clip. Love a bulldog clip. Takes the pressure off. Oh, I could have a little rest now if I wanted to. But we're carrying on. So remember, we've got all our flowers down here. So we're going for it. I've not got any more constructed posies. But I am just going to think about, let's just add in our height. So we're thinking about the external circle, the outside of the wreath. And then we're going to think about the internal circle. We're thinking about the repetition of flowers, but this sort of wreath is not an exact replica all the way around. Okay, so I am making another mini posy here. I'm not following the central flower, secondary flower, grass structure because of the nature of this type of wreath. It's a small interior nod to autumn. And now I'm going to take my bulldog clip. I'm doing this the other way around now, aren't I? Bulldog clip off. I'm going to lay my flowers. So I could either go inside the wreath or I could keep building height. You see how it's starting to loosen now. I just need to say, come on now, back in the game. Now, this is when we start to get into the world of hiding our flowers. If I put that there, I'm hiding my delicate structures in my hand. I'm hiding them behind the dominant yarrow. So I think therefore, or I'm going to move it around a bit. I'm going to go at the back, but I'm going to move my thistle around. Okay, just so I can still see it. Now I'm overlapping it and I'm wrapping my raffia around and around. Right, we're halfway through. So we might not finish this today, but I'm going to keep talking all the time. don't know if I've got any comments yet. Shall I have a look? Yeah, we're 30 minutes in. Oh, there's lots of comments. Oh, I can see all these comments now. You're going to throw me with this. If there are any questions, I can't see any questions. You can use wire hangers, Jackie. Absolutely. Oh, and well done, Jackie, because you're just alerting me to what I usually use. I don't usually use macrame hanger wire at all. This is new for me. Doing a wreath workshop tomorrow in my village. And I just saw them online because I do get inspired by Etsy. There's some great dried flower artists on Etsy, and they are using macrame hoops a lot because I live in an old house and I tend to wreath with, I'm going to show you the different sizes now. So I weave Virginia creeper stems and I make my own wreath bases. Number one, because it's just going in the green bin, Virginia creeper stems. So I'm just using something that would otherwise end up in compost. Number two, it's free. Number three, look at these gnarly curves that come off them. I love them. And I just wind it with raffia, really malleable. You can also use, in forests, you can forage wild honeysuckle stems. You can use ivy. You can use jasmine or clematis. There's other materials suggested in Bex's book. So I've made loads of these. So at my workshop tomorrow, people can choose to wreath make with the macrame, which looks really good in a modern interior. These look a bit country, which I live in, and I live in a country house. So I like the rustic, but I also like the modern. Right, distracting now. Okay, any other questions? Yes, look for seed heads. Now is still the time. You can do it throughout the whole of autumn and winter. You're not restricted by the seasons. The seasons give you new opportunities. And when they dry in a cluster, you might look at one seed head on its own in isolation. And you don't have to live in a rural area. If you live along the banks of a canal, if you live just near a train track, health and safety, you will find wildflowers and prolific, strong, almost bullyish weeds growing everywhere. And we like the bullies because they're resilient and they're going to last when we cut them. This summer, I was lucky to stay in Norfolk, North Norfolk, in somewhere called Thornham, with my sister, and it's loads of marshlands around, and I can't tell you the foraging I did. I was like a kid in a sweet shop. Yarrow, beautiful white yarrow growing in abundance, beautiful grasses everywhere. You see, I'm getting a bit carried away now because I've got 2 burgundy. Look at that. That does not look good. I still want my whimsical elements to be behind the scenes. So even though I'm coming in a bit now, I've got a carthamus. So actually I'm using the wire of the carthamus to take the strain and take the pressure off the raffia. Also, what we haven't got yet, look at this beautiful little delicate thing. No idea what it is. No idea. Found it. But it wants to join the party. So come on in, join the party. It wants to almost come out of the wreath. Remember, we're making a 4-dimensional creation. It's going upwards, outwards, inside and around. It's 360. Okay. Now, what about over here? Remember I said I've been wanting to tweak this wreath and add new elements. So there's my crocosmia. Okay, let's put my bulldog clip back on. Okay, let's try not to get too messy. I haven't used my dead headers yet, have I? Hiya! Oh, it flew away. Maybe that's why I shouldn't use them. Here's Acrocosmia. I like this because it's gnarly, but it's got structure and definition. So, and it's kept its colour beautifully. Who would have thought? So that's a new find for me this summer. That is going to steal the show and go above. So this is just coming in now as a new element because we're just adding all the time. Okay. What I'm not happy about with this one I'm doing in front of you now, self-criticism, imposter syndrome, the life of a crafter, is I'm not so happy with my burgundy element repeating there. I'm probably going to add something in here, something light and fluffy to distract the eye from burgundy, burgundy. Just try and stop the repetition taking over. Also, I've got them too close together, I think. So let's go for a nigella. Okay, that's going to go in there. That's now adding a nice little bit. Let's think about speeding up. I don't usually do these under pressure. I don't like rushing. Oh, look at that. Classic. I just told you about the raffia. So now I can illustrate how we just tie it back together and try not to pull it too tight again, because it's just not great quality, this raffia. Can't remember what the strength of it is, but you can buy stronger raffia. I think I just bought one that was too cheap, basically. Okay, so we've got 24 minutes left. Still talking. Still going to scroll down and see if we've got any other questions. Don't think I can see any more questions. Okay. That's it, right? Keep going. And there's lots of other things I wanted to talk about. So I've talked about, let's put my notes out of the way. Talked about the best flowers. Also, chat to your neighbours. When they get a bouquet of flowers delivered, just have a little word and say, do you know what? Before you bin it, do you want to pass it over my wall? Pass it over your wall and see what you can get up to. Here's that naughty burr. Should we just put him in? Should we put him in between the two burgundies? Just to break up the burgundies, because he's going to just stick there. Yeah, put him in there now. So just remember, your flowers are your sweet shop. If you start collecting, then pretty soon you can have a stash. Now, drying techniques. I spoke a lot about upside down air drying, but you can also dry by other methods. There's an evaporation method. So if you've cut your hydrangea heads recently, hydrangeas are, they are fickle beasts. If you cut a hydrangea too early, it will just crimple up and just turn to dust and look totally rubbish, which is what I did before I went on holiday in August. I thought, when I come back, are these going to be all too crispy? So I saw that mid-August can work. So that's when I cut them. Didn't work, all crinkled, turned to dust. Thankfully, I have some wonderful neighbours who are hydrangea growers. I'm going to name drop my neighbour Dawn, my neighbour Jane, my neighbour Sue Collett, Sue the guru of flowers. And they've let me have their hydrangeas recently. And in return, I give them mango chutney and or make them something out of their hydrangeas. Okay, here comes the carthamus. Are we repeating that carthamus too soon? Shall we go for a helichrysum? Beautiful greaseproof paper type helichrysum. Just look at these. I've had a cheeky word with my friend Lucy's dad, who was a farmer. He's going to grow me some of these next year. It's a good way to make friends. Give people mango chutney or whatever skill you can offer in exchange, and they will grow you or give you things. And it just brings people together, really. It's just a fun thing to do. Takes the edge off all the drama of life. Okay, see, this is looking a little bit lost on its own now. I think we need to bring our burgundy friend back into the party. And I think we need to build up some density. Remember we talked about those arms, those branches of flowers that are coming out and just offering us a little bit of extra architectural height, structure, drama. There is no set formula for this, okay, guys? It's about getting into your own rhythm. Okay, in terms of tools, I'll talk about tools as well whilst we're going. 20 minutes left. Tools. Secateurs, of course. Florist secateurs are easier. Tiny little deadheaders. For hanging wreaths, I use S-hooks. Buy them in bulk. Really easy. I often give customers one of these with their wreath. Tape measure. Always measuring. Raffia. Lengths of raffia. Oh, I haven't got it here. If you're making a more delicate structure, like a flower crown, like these flower crowns, there's something called bullion wire. Okay, bullion wire is crinkly and gold or silver or copper themed, and it is just a lovely wire, bullion, B-U-L-L-I-O-N, and it's really nice to weave with, and it just gives you a lovely finish. But for wreath making, we like to go with, for wreath making, if you're weaving round and round and round and round, I like to go with raffia, because it's, at the end of the day, it's paper-based structure, and it feels nice and malleable within your hands. For me, a lot of what I do is about texture. This is multi-sensory. I can smell the dried flowers, I can feel them, and it's providing me with sensory feedback, which is calming me. I'm into all this. I work with young people with additional needs, and sensory feedback is something that is quite powerful. And making wreaths is something that I've done with young people who are perhaps disengaged with other types of learning. And this leads me on to talk about, I'm going to keep name dropping local heroes. So I mentioned the social enterprise at Branch Out MK. Also going to mention the social enterprise who I've been to this morning, called Sow and Grow, at Sow and Grow MK. And Sow and Grow train young people who are not in mainstream education in either horticultural skills, they do childcare courses, but where I went this morning, Sow and Grow, they're training young people to sow, sowing skills, and using local flowers. See, I've just added to my raffia then. Local flowers to make their own natural dyes, and to dye the material, and then to create products from the dyed material. And lovely Sow and Grow this morning have made me this apron, which I'm going to show you at the end. They've dyed it with white and red onion skins. It's a lovely heavy cotton that they've lined. They've also used an old medieval dye called madder, M-A-D-D-E-R, to make a pink pocket. So that's Sow and Grow MK. And the trainees who made my apron, I'm going to name drop them now, are Timmy. Thank you, Timmy. And I think it was Chelsea. Timmy and Chelsea. So I wanted to mention you. I also met Poppy this morning. Yeah, Timmy and Chelsea, and I met Poppy, and Florrie and Bex are the trainers, supervisors at Sow and Grow. And I'm looking forward to working with you guys more, because you are brilliant. You are giving young people a practical training path away from academia, and you are doing amazing stuff, and there's not many folk like you doing it. So big up, Sow and Grow, and thank you for the scrunchie that you made my daughter, middle daughter Florence. So there we go. Because I was mentioning, can't remember what I was talking about, something or other. Okay, 15 minutes to go. We're getting near the bottom now. We've got about 8 centimetres left, so we might get there if we keep going. I've not added any feathers in, you'll see, in this one. And do you know why? Because feathers, if you wire a feather in or raffia a feather in, it gets tight and constricted and loses the ethereal feel. So I plop feathers in afterwards and they stay. If you just find a little hole and plop it in with no raffia, no wiring, the feather will stay. Some people like feathers, other people, oh no, it's very Marmite with feathers. I've used mallard, lovely blue mallard feathers, teal feathers. Got a lady at the moment who's asked for a garland, dried flower garland that really pops. She wants bright orange, bright purple to hang over a fireplace, and she's really up for going for teal from duck feathers. So duck feathers are quite fun. I try and source them when they've been harvested sustainably. I don't buy them in from China. Try and be as mindful as I can be when I'm buying in stuff. I'm not perfect, because usually for me it's cost driven, I have to say. You may have explored the world of dried flowers and buying in dried flower products. Boy, you can spend a lot of money on dried flowers because they're so on trend, and because it takes a long time to create a stock that you've homegrown and dried yourself, and it takes a long time to get huge amounts together. So it has value, but they're in all the films. Don't know if any of you seen the new Cruella film with Emma Thompson. Helman Hall, where she lives, is bedecked in dried flowers. Rag and Bone Man and Pink, they did a duet recently, and the video is set in a then COVID disused theatre. And oh, see this one now? This is starting to fall apart. Our burgundy head. That's okay. We can go with that. Sometimes they do. So we're just trying to wrap it as close as we can to the stem, just to give it some safety. I'm also going to use the carthamus wire. Remember, I wired the carthamus to go around. So dried flowers are everywhere. I went to Mayfair with my daughter last week. We were invited to a talk at the Royal Institution by an amazing jeweller from All the Glitters, the BBC Two programme that was on in the spring, telling the story of these amazing jewellers and setting them challenges. And Tamara Gomez, who I just loved her stuff, and she turned an old engagement ring into a necklace for me. She invited us to Mayfair for this talk. Brilliant. Took Florence, my middle one. And oh my goodness, the shops, the Alexander McQueen, the Prada, dried flowers everywhere. So what I was trying to say is cost is a big element for me, because I don't charge as much as other people. That's partly because I've not been doing it that long. I'm a self-taught person. I'm not pretending to be super proficient, but geez, there are some big costs involved in purchasing dried flower items. So think about, what can you dry? What can you create? Can you see I'm adding in these feathers now? Just to get a feel for it. Should we see how we're feeling? Oh, can't get it round. No. So you could even have it that way round if you want. Do you see? Or you can have it wrong way again, because there we go. small person coming in behind me. Do you want to come and say hi, Flo? Oh. Okay, so you can have it that way. We're nearly there. We can fill in the holes after. What have we got? 10 minutes left. Okay. Okay. Any more questions? Please do ask. Please do go for it. I'm not going to put that in. Oh, I mean, that just looks a bit nuts. I have to pull myself back because my default is to go a bit nuts, and I have to think less is more. But sometimes more is more. It depends, and we're near Halloween. My dead headers aren't working. That's okay. Let's keep going. Pop these in. Oh, other drying techniques. Now I'm going to talk now about pressing flowers. Of course, you can use an old-fashioned flower press, or just put some beautiful flower petals in between newspaper and 2 heavy books, or a flower press. I have an amazing cousin who makes jewellery from pressed dried flowers, and her website is Silver and Birch. Now, I've got imposter syndrome like nothing else because I'm just still learning about dried flowers and making stuff. My cousin Helen, oh my goodness, she is proper skilled, proper skilled. She makes jewelry, she makes home decor, all out of pressed flowers, which she sets in resin. But the result she achieves is off the scale. And I'm wearing some of her earrings right now, which are just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's not working, is it? Let's put that down. Okay, we're getting there. Look, we're using up our table. It's getting a bit messy, but we're getting there. That naughty burdock is still floating around, but it's not on my white paper right now. So that makes me happy. Other feathers you can use. There's a local pheasant shoot that dropped off all these with me. Beautiful grey, blue tones and browns. Get friendly with a local farmer. Get friendly with growers. Get friendly with an allotment association. Just see what links you can make without having to buy stuff. It just brings people together. And you know what? Dried flowers are a bit Marmite. A lot of people just don't like them. But if you make something, okay, and you're not sure about it, please, just for me, hang it up and let it bed itself in. Hang it up on your wall and let the light change from day to night, from season to season, and the detail and shadows that you see in dried flowers and foliage when put together. I've just seen my sister's comment. How does my husband feel about me getting friendly with a local farmer? Well, I have to get friendly with a local farmer because I'm often walking my dog on his land. So, you know, you gotta remember where your bread's buttered. Right. Not had much sleep in the last 2 days. You can probably tell. What have we got left, guys? What's on my table left? Huxley, are you there, my nephew? What flower have I got left on my table? Can you see? Oh, there's that naughty burr. It's made friends with my rose tinted tag. Okay, we've got 6 minutes left. I can see that. Here's one of our friends, our little heads. Does it help if I... Oh, the other thing, in terms of tools, I always have a spotlight because you just see so much more when you work with a spotlight. Okay. So I'm going to finish this off now. I'm not going to go all the way to my last piece of raffia. So I wonder how close I can get. I'm going to show you how I loop round. I'm making a loop You see that? And I'm just going back through. Just going back through. It's got caught on something, that's okay. And I'm pulling. I'm not pulling too tight because naughty raffia, naughty low quality, rubbish, cheap raffia will break. And once again, loop, back round, and then we will have just enough time to show you my favourite ribbon technique. Oh, it's still a bit loose, you know. Still a bit loose, but I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not going to trim it yet. Okay, so it's a bit more whimsical, this one, because I've made it under duress. Now, hand-dyed ochre ribbon. Okay, what we do is we work in reverse. We put the wrong side facing upwards. So the shiny side is facing downwards of this velvet. Yeah, that looks okay. See if I've done it right, because I get left and right, up and down, the wrong way around all the time. It's just one of those things. I can't open doors. I've never been able to open doors. I push doors, I pull doors. I can't open a door. My children, thankfully, I've got 3 of them to help me open doors. So here we've got our tie. Now you can see it's a little bit far away, isn't it? Looks like it's just hanging out on a limb. Let's pull it up a bit. Pull it up a bit. Oh, I know. I've got a naughty friend who likes to just take over. Where's that naughty burr? Here's the naughty burr. Oh, how would I dry hydrangeas? Did I get distracted, Joanne? So once my friends gave me my lovely cut hydrangeas, still with the stem on, about 15 centimetres of stem, 10 to 15 centimetres of stem, in a vessel with 1 centimetre of water. Put them somewhere happy, out of direct light, just in that vessel. It could be a tin, a vase. And the hydrangea head will slowly evaporate. So you don't have to hang it upside down. The petals will evaporate slowly so they don't crinkle and go into shock. And the 1 centimetre of water will keep that stem ever so slightly full of moisture to stop it going into shock. That method also works with, so hydrangeas is the main method of evaporation. Bex Partridge in her book Everlastings talks about other perfect flowers for the evaporation method. Umbellifers sometimes work like that. When I say an umbellifer, I mean bronze fennel, cow parsley, wild carrot. Beautiful, beautiful in season. There's a dog, hello. And they tend to be dried upright. So the evaporation method could work for them. Right, there's our bird that I've just put there to finish. I'm going to add in some other elements if I wish. Where's my... Have I got these the wrong way around? Why aren't my dead headers working? Don't know why they're not working. Use my tiny scissors. Teeny tiny, all the way round. So it's not the wreath we started with. We've made a new wreath. We've made a new wreath. Okay, it's still got that ribbon embellishment. It's a bit heavier at the top. It's got a couple of holes, but obviously in time I would tweak. And we've got 2 minutes left. So I'm going to lift the camera up now. I'm going to just, I really want to show you this apron. And I want to show you my dried hops also that I got from Sow and Grow, from Essentially Hops. There's my necklace from Tamara Gomez, who I mentioned, Tamara Gomez Jewellery. Brilliant crafter. Here's my Sow and Grow apron with pocket. Woo! Here's my Lettered by Annie sign from my workshop tomorrow. It says, "Welcome to my rose-tinted world. Take a seat, catch your breath. Consider death to be a part of life, not the opposite of it." It's up to you. Take from that what you will. And that's also a quote that at Branch Out MK Teresa has used in her Chelsea piece. And I think that's it now. So all I wanted to say is, you can't really see that. I wanted to say, you beautiful soul, thank you for being at Rose Tinted GB. Oh, and final thing I was going to show you. Don't know if I'm still there. It's my The pressed flower earring from my cousin. Silver and birch. It's got miniature ferns in it. It's got tiny daisies, Amimagus. There we go. I think that's it now. Hi, Huxley. Hi, nephew. And that's me. So it's 12 o'clock. And I think that's me. So I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful half term. Any questions? Message me at rosetintedgb. And just get out there and fiddle, because it's very calming, it's very therapeutic, it's multisensory, and dried flowers have their place. Okay.